We welcome you back to CBS Mornings. We've got new details about a story that could have a big impact on U.S. air travel. CBS News has learned that Justice Department lawyers could file a lawsuit as soon as today to block JetBlue's proposed merger with Spirit Airlines. Back in October, shareholders of the low-cost carrier voted to accept JetBlue's $3.8 billion buyout. The combined airline would become the fifth largest in the nation. We've also got another big announcement, this one from JetBlue, on the flights first on CBS Morning. This is very exciting for you who like to go overseas. Tickets are officially on sale today for the airline's new direct route to Paris from New York's JFK Airport. That starts June 29th. Joining us now is JetBlue CEO Robin Hayes. Mr. Hayes, always good to have you at the table.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Shall we start with the lawsuit or shall we start with the prices? What's your pleasure, sir?
I'll let you pick. I'll let you pick.
Well, let's start with the lawsuit.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling about that? You know, the Justice Department is saying, nope, not so fast. You're merging with Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we're disappointed, but we're not surprised. I mean, we said when we got the offer approved by the Spirit shareholders last year that we didn't think we would close to the first half of 2024, you know, expecting a trial. I mean, the issue in the US industry, and this is where we agree actually with the Department of Justice, is that we've got four large airlines with about 20% of the market each. That's 80%. The rest of us have 20% between us. And so what we're trying to do is make a bigger JetBlue to bring the JetBlue brand, the JetBlue product, the JetBlue people, and the JetBlue fares more nationally than we can do today. This is not Pepsi buying Coke. Together, we're going to be 8 to 9% of the market. You know, you said a fifth largest airline, a distant fifth largest airline. So, look,
But they're saying it won't give customers, passengers, options when it comes to low-cost flying, because now you will essentially own that market.
Well, let's see what the lawsuit says. I mean, the overlap between JetBlue and Spirit is really low. Certainly, in my opinion, much lower than we've seen in previous mergers, by the way, which the government have approved. And just so much more benefit, the ability to add new markets, the ability to fly to new destinations that neither JetBlue or Spirit do today individually.
So people are very price sensitive.
Yes.
A lot of people flying on your airline are using their own dollar, right? It's not a corporate card. It's not a business expense. Are you telling people they should root for this merger because prices will go down on tickets?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, JetBlue, I think the difference between JetBlue and other airlines is we don't believe you have to choose between a low fare and great service. And if you look out of New York, where we started, every time JetBlue flies on a market, fares go down in that market. It's actually called the JetBlue effect. Because of our product and because we appeal to all sorts of customers, legacy airlines, which fly the most capacity, they will match they will bring down their fares to match JetBlue. So everyone benefits. Look, JetBlue and Spirit together will be 8 or 9%. Most people are still going to be flying on the other airlines. That's where you're going to save the really big dollars by having a bigger JetBlue.
I flew JetBlue this weekend to Palm Beach, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, but the JetBlue crews are different. I don't know if you train them differently. The pilot came out and said hello to everybody in the plane. The flight attendants write down their names, and I find them very engaging. We don't need to discuss that any further than say, good job, JetBlue.
Oh, we can.
No. But it does feel unsafe these days, Robin, to fly. I mean, it seems like there's many incidents that are happening. I don't know if it's happening more and we're noticing, or that there's something wrong. I just feel when I get on a plane, it's very, very frightening to me, regardless of the airline.
Well, we certainly don't want you to feel frightened, Gayle. I mean, the US airline industry is incredibly safe.
I know.
The FAA is handling about 45,000 flights a day, millions and millions of flights a year. And, there are a few serious incidents that have occurred recently.
JetBlue just had a very close call.
Yeah, so we had a situation in Boston where we had an airplane that was coming into land, and a private airplane took the runway, even though they had been told to wait.
Yeah.
Now, our pilots are trained. What our pilots are trained to do is that as they come into land, if the runway is not clear, you do what's called a go-around.
Yes.
And that is something that we train. I've been flying on airplanes for 33 years. I've probably been involved in 2 or 3.
But have you been on one of those go-arounds?
Yes,
that stuff is scary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is something that is disconcerting if you're on the airplane. I have been on airplanes that have done that. But it's not unsafe. And I think, what's really what I'm really proud of in the US is how the FAA, the airlines, everyone works together to keep the system safe.
So it's working? You don't think anything needs to change in order to improve safety?
Every time an incident like this happens, there's an investigation and a review, and the system changes because of it. You know, there are new procedures that we introduce, and it's like this kind of constant feedback loop of things happen, and then people get trained to address it. So, look, I'm flying all the time, and I feel as safe today as I ever did.
Robin, let me ask you about inflation. The CPI index last month had inflation at 6.4% overall over last year, but airfares are up 25%, over 25%. How do you address that?
Well, I think, you know, what you've seen, I think there are two issues in the airline industry. First of all, our fuel costs are up significantly. And it's not just the cost of the fuel, but what we call the crack spread, which is the price to take the raw material and then turn it into a refined product that you can put in the airplane. Those costs are up significantly. In addition, you know, the industry hasn't brought as much capacity back as there is demand. You know, there are delays on new aircraft deliveries. There's been challenges ramping up staffing as other industries have seen. And so, you know, I think as we move to 23, 24, as things start to catch up, you'll see some of that normalize. But there's still plenty of great deals out there.
Like Paris?
As well.
Like the flights to Paris?
But before we get, because I want to end on Paris, I think we should end on some good news. But Wall Street Journal poll says JetBlue finished in last place overall for the second year in a row for worst airline. That can't be good for you to hear.
No one wants to be last.
Right.
You know, that poll, Gayle, is really a function of on-time performance. And I think one of the challenges that...
It says on-time, mishandled baggage, involuntary bumping. You think it's mostly about on-time?
Well, a lot, yeah. So mishandled baggage is a number of measures, including on-time. But, you know, I think where we have traditionally not done as well as others is in the area of on-time performance. And that really relates to the geography that we're in. I mean, you know that New York and the Northeast has by far and away the most air traffic control delays, the most weather impact of any part of the country. And a proof point is in January. So we just had actually a pretty good January. The weather in the Northeast was good. And the airline that cancelled the lowest percentage of flights of any airline in the country.
So that's good news.
But
let's talk about Paris.
Paris.
Springtime,
what is
Robin.
the number? What's the
price point? Give it to us.
Well, we're excited. You know, I mean, talk about the JetBlue effect, talk about low fares. So we're announcing today that we're going to start flying to Paris on the 29th of June. And the round-trip fare is $479.
Wow.
That is less than half.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, in Mint, which is our premium experience, it's under $2,000.
It's also a very good price.
$18.99.
Those are going to go quickly.
Tony, you're going to Paris. This is
by the way,
well, I'm going early. I'm going in April.
By the way, we've been doing this on London now for a couple of years. If you look at business class fares to London, I think they're about half of what they were.
gentle people.
I don't know when Beyonce's performing in Paris, but that would be something that people should look at.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. And you know, if you blew it on Valentine's Day, this is the makeup move right now. Log on, get that sub $500 price in Paris round trip. Robin Hayes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here.